Right then, Anthony, you shoot.
All righty, questions. Bring them on in. Let's see here.
There should also be some questions on the moderation there as well,
Okay.
if there is anything.
I think these are from last week.
Okay. So right then, if you don't have any questions, let's do a little preparation for the lesson. It's always good to start the lesson with something to read. And I'll read a few things from Kabbalah for the student. In case you don't have this book, this is what it is, this green book. It's the mother of all books. And what we'll do, we'll read from page, what was that, 154. Okay, 157 actually, not 154. There's some text in there about what Kabbalists wrote about the wisdom of Kabbalah. So we'll read a few. If you don't have any questions, I'll wrap up a summary of everything we did. So what are they saying? On page 157, Kabbalists write about the wisdom of Kabbalah. Even if we find people who are great in the Torah, in fear and in wisdom, yet who are not interested in the secrets of the Torah because of the sublimity of their degree, because they have many possessions with which to occupy their spirit in the treasures of the revealed Torah and wisdom, let it not droop the heart of one who feels an inner sensation, a pressure of the soul's craving for the way of secrets. For even if we decide that this yearning came to him due to his lack of skills in the revealed matters, so what? In the end, this is one's share, that one should be happy with one's lot, for the Lord is near to all them that call upon him in honest truth. This is Rav Kook. Basically, okay, these guys, Kabbalists, are obviously written a long time ago, but it's very interesting what he's saying here. He's saying even if you know all the spiritual books, all the books that cover many topics about spirituality and religion and so on, he's saying even if you know everything, if your heart is still not open to discover the truth, you really haven't learned anything. So only a person who has a sensation in his heart, this dot in the heart, who's seeking the truth, can really discover the Creator. And all the wisdoms and all the books that we know in our head and we think we understand won't actually amount to anything unless a person can really feel the Creator inside. Rightio then, any questions?
Yes, we have a question.
Oh, finally. Come on, guys, do me a favor. I can see you now. Ask me something.
Question comes in from Michael. And Michael says, what is the most practical way that we can apply what we have learned so far?
Well, that's a great question. Kabbalah actually is a very practical science. It is the most practical science you'll probably learn in spirituality, because actually Kabbalah is a social science, and being social science, it's very interactive with people. And the whole idea of the situation is how a group of people come together to practically apply the social science so they can get amongst each other this spiritual sensation. Like in the previous lessons we discussed, right? Incorporeality, how do we feel things in life? Incorporeality, right? This is new to me. Okay, so this is incorporeality. So we've got a pink circle. So incorporeality, what happens is we connect with people, don't we? We connect with other people, like family, friends, and so on. And what happens is when we connect with them, we have feelings, don't we? We either like them or we don't like them, and from our character they describe us. They say, oh, that's a nice person, that's a generous person, or that guy's a liar, or that guy's a thief. Okay, because we get sensations from each other, and this is how we recognize each other. This is how we actually define people, don't we? If we have good friends, we define them according to their good traits. And if we know bad people, we define them according to their bad traits. Why? Because we connected with them somehow, and through that connection, we got that impression. So the same thing really happens in a group who studies Kabbalah. What happens though is something a little different, and maybe I'll just... Why is this pink? I do not know. But no worries. But in a group of Kabbalists, a group of Kabbalah students, what happens is... actually, let's do it this way. What do we have? We're still going to have sensations. In corporeal reality, we have the 5 senses, don't we? We feel people through the 5 senses. In spirituality, we also have 5 senses, but until those 5 senses really appear inside of us, until they're built, what we have is that famous dot in the heart. So a group of Kabbalah students get together and they want to discover the Creator, that governing force of nature between them. What they need to do is connect, just like people do in this world, right? In order to get along. In spirituality, for us to get along as well, we need to do the same thing, but the connection needs to happen with the dot in the heart. And that's the very fundamental thing, because the dot in the heart that a person has, just like we read from Rav Kook a minute ago, is that inclination of a person seeking the truth, that piece of sanctity, or that special spark in a person that's given to the person from the Creator, awakens and wants to go back to that perfection, wants to go back to the Creator. Actually, he wants to return back to the Creator. So our desire to receive wants to drag us down, while this wants to go up. So in order for that to go up and to ascend, we have to connect a spiritual inclination, a spiritual quality inside of us. In order to do that, we need to have a practical application of how we're going to connect, right? Well, how do you think you guys are going to do that? Well, simple. We're going to copy this world, all right? Just like people connect together in this world and they get along according to what they want to do, just like a football team, right? Guys get together and they practice and they want to become a good football team. They get together, or a group of scientists who want to work together and discover something together. What we're going to do is we're going to get together and we want to be good at spirituality according to the wisdom of Kabbalah. We want to be good Kabbalists. We want to be great Kabbalists. And what we want to do with that new trait is discover the whole of reality, all the causes and consequences of reality. And that can only happen, first of all, through self-discovery. Because if we don't know what we really are, how are we going to really build that perfection, that spirituality inside of us? So first we need to discover ourselves, and that we can only do by trying to connect with each other, just like normal people do in a group. But our goal here is to attain the Creator, to attain the attribute of, you guys know by now, love and bestowal. Now, love and bestowal might sound a little, we teach that to kids in kindergarten, right? However, love and bestowal is not really the kind of love and bestowal that we define in our lives. Love and bestowal is actually an approach where I feel absolute perfection. Because what is the attribute of bestowal? Bestowal is giving, right? Who can give? Only someone who has everything and needs nothing can give. So bestowal is actually a sign in spirituality of perfection, right? Perfection. And because the attribute of giving, bestowal, is reflected by a person who has compassion and love for other people, that's why we call it love and bestowal. However, we shouldn't really confuse it with the worldly, love and bestowal that we have, because in spirituality that takes a whole different concept. All right. However, though, the best way to practice is with people who have the same mentality. People who have got the same direction. And this is and how to do that in a group we're going to learn in the next semester together. So all we have to do is learn how to practically do this together, all of us. It's not hard at all. In fact, believe me, this is probably the easiest thing you guys will do. All right, very easy. And if you have a dot in the heart, it's a piece of cake. And once you start to do that, you'll get a lot of different emotions, a lot of different things kind of surfacing inside of you. And through those sensations and those feelings, we'll be advancing forward. So there we go. A group of people who have the same direction, the same approach. And that's how we're going to do it practically, just like in this world. Rightio then. Anything else?
Oh, yes. So we have a question from Claire. Oh, she asked where to find the session. If we miss a session on here, where can we catch it afterwards? And you posted a link below, so everybody can look inside the chat box and see.
Okay.
And then we have another great question. It came from Enoch. He says, the world we see exists in the back of our heads. Those who do not see, blind people, what do they experience?
Well, they experience things inside themselves as well. When we talk about the perception of reality and we talk about living reality at the back of our heads, what we're talking about is mainly living all the sensations that we get from the outside world with our senses. Okay. So if a person can't see, for example, they only have 4 senses, at the end of the day, the person is feeling everything inside. Person feels everything. Oh, maybe I'll just feels everything inside. So at the end of the day, even if a person can't see or can't hear, it doesn't matter. What matters is we're building a spiritual sensation, and spirituality also has 5 senses. Although we don't feel them at the moment, we will feel them. And those 5 senses are called the names of the Sephirot. They are Keter, Chochmah, Bina, Tiferet or Zerampin, and Malchut. So these Sephirot will also be our 5 senses in spirituality. In spirituality, we'll also feel everything on the inside, because that's what we are. We are sensing creatures which actually feel life inside the sensations. So we will be building this part, and that's going to be all spiritual. Okay? These are going to be our spiritual senses. And we're going to build all of that from that dot in the heart that we have. Okay, we're going to construct ourselves a soul. Throughout the study, that's what we're going to do. Right then. How come I can't see you guys on the screen? Yeah? Is it? Okay, are we just seeing us? Okay. No? Everybody?
That's the way Zoom is.
Oh, is that the way Zoom is? Or are you? Oh, so that you're not connected to there, are you? Is Shmuel connected to there?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, good. Tov. And any other questions?
Oh, yes. We've got some really, really good ones also. Give me one sec here. There we go. So questions are coming in, and that's really, really good. We have one here. Luis wants to know, how can we network locally to meet others studying the same subjects, studying Kabbalah?
That's a very cool question indeed. Claire, where's Louise from?
I believe she's from the UK. Give me a nod if you're from. Are you from the UK? Is that correct?
Yes,
All right. She
okay,
gave me the
thumbs up.
Perfecto.
There we go.
All right.
All right, we have a group in the UK, actually, you'll be happy to know. In fact, we have a group pretty much everywhere, all around Europe. We have friends actually we got friends all over the planet, to be quite honest with you. So there'll be friends somewhere in the UK, there's a group. In London, I think we have a group. So you'll be able to be in touch with them. But even if there isn't anyone in your area, what we do is we connect on social networks. So we all have a group. Every country has their group, and you just stick your head into that group, and then you can take part in all the activities that they're doing. So that's not a problem at all. And now, because the whole world is virtual, as long as you got internet, you can connect with any group from anywhere. So everybody definitely, has a place to participate. Definitely, yes.
Okay, our next question is from Steve. Steve says, "Is practicing love and bestowal in this world with people without the point in the heart possible or advisable?"
We do it with family and friends, don't we? But the reason we work together in a group is for two reasons. One, when you start to do this in the outside world with regular people, because they're not directed towards what you want to attain, when you want to constantly give love and bestow to them, you might look a little weird, okay? Because it's just not normal in our lives, is it? Because people go, ooh. So it's not really taken so well with a positive feedback. What we like to do is we like to practice the method within the group, and the reason for that is because we all understand where we're coming from, and it's very important to study with like-minded people because we have that same base together. We have that foundation knowledge, and on top of that base, what we can do is now start to play around with this thing called connection in order to start having some spiritual sensation. And spirituality is actually sensed, like I said here, within this dot in the heart that we need to move towards. The dot in the heart is not going to be, on day one, it's not going to start feeling something spiritual or something out of this world all of a sudden. No. But what happens is just like a little fetus grows in the mother's womb, and it takes time. What happens also, that dot in the heart inside that group, it's like a mother's womb as well. We start to engage in this connection game, and what happens is that dot in the heart starts to grow, and then we can discern spiritual or close to spiritual or sensations that we haven't felt in the outside world, in our connection with other people on the outside, in our spiritual group. So it's not really recommended to play what we're doing or do what we're doing with the people on the outside. What is recommended to do on the outside is to live your life just like you would normally, like a good, nice guy kind of thing. And that's the best way to do. So on the outside world, we're all good guys, nice guys in society, regular guys. But inside the group is where we really practice, because we understand where we're coming from, and everybody's like-minded, so they won't look at you like you're weird when you're trying to bestow or express your compassion to the friends or so on. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have another question that I like this question. It said, and it doesn't say who it's from. It says just, I guess, the phone that they're using or how they're connected, Galaxy J7. But it says, okay, I always ask myself, we all have to love and have to be loved. So what about if some evil guy attacks us? What do Kabbalists do?
Now, in the group, very unlikely, that some evil guy is going to attack you, because they're really nice guys. I mean, I've been all around the world, and I think this is probably the safest group around. But on the outside world, we treat the outside world just like it needs to be treated. So imagine yourself before you started studying Kabbalah. And that's how you would behave with the outside world. So when we study Kabbalah, we divide ourselves into two. Okay? We have our corporeal life, and we have our spiritual life. So our spiritual life this is in the group. Okay, in the group. And our corporeal life, we treat it just like we would be treating it before we came to Kabbalah, before we were even looking for spirituality. So we go to work just like everybody else. We work, we have family, we have friends on the outside. Okay. And whatever you have on the outside world. So whatever happens to you from the outside world, you must treat it with the rules of the corporeal world, right? So if somebody attacks you, you should, protect yourself. You can't go and give them a hug. So if somebody slaps you in the face, you definitely don't turn the other cheek, all right? Because they'll just slap your other cheek as well. It's not going to get you anywhere, and you won't feel good at all afterwards. All right, so just be mindful. Whatever happens in the corporeal, you keep it in the corporeal. You take care of yourself. You take care of your health. You take care of your family and your day-to-day life, just like you would before you came to study Kabbalah. But studying in the group in Kabbalah, when we're studying together, then what we do is our spiritual life, we keep it in the group. It's always between us. And it's only logical as well. Just like, sometimes, when we all have families, I guess. So just like there's certain things you keep in the family, right? So spirituality, we keep it in the group. Just like you have your family matters, you keep them in the family. So it's worth dividing it and keeping them separate. It helps you not get confused as well. Right, yeah.
So another great question comes from, forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong. It says Seeson, Seeson. It says, is it correct to say that I have no idea who others around me are, because I am the one who imagines who they are. Even when they say who they are, it's still me making a picture because I only feel everything inside and not outside.
It is not correct to say that, okay, because I said that. What is correct to say is it's like that when you live reality like that. So if a Kabbalist, okay, there's rule number 1, okay, so let's get it. You guys got a notebook? If you have a notebook, make a note. Just because the Kabbalist said such and such, we don't believe it blindly. Because if you did that, then that's going to get religious. Spirituality is not believing. Spirituality is attaining. So what you want to do is reach a level of perception that the Kabbalists are talking about. But if I'm not there yet, and I believe what they say, and according to what they say, I imagine in my head that this is how I should be living, then I'm just going to get into a big mess. I will get confused, and I might even go nuts. Okay, so we don't want that. What we want to do is we want to be realistic. So the Kabbalists are telling us, listen, perception of reality is inside you. Well, that's great. But currently, I don't feel like Anthony is living in me, right? He's living outside of me.
See my shirt? Nice shirt.
Let's go. Where'd you get the shirt from?
I actually just found it in the closet. I don't know where it
Very
came from.
Dallas.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Just missing your hat.
Yeah.
Where was I? Now, if I start to imagine my life in in a disillusioned way, because the Kabbalists are writing it like that, then that will kind of divert me from reality. The Kabbalists are very, very pragmatic guys. They're saying, listen, if you study this wisdom according to the rules and principles, you should come to perceive everything inside of you. And on the outside, you should just feel the Creator. But we're not there yet. So if I'm not there yet, I'm not going to go around acting as if I'm there at the moment. What I want to do instead is this. Okay, great. We're here with a dot in the heart, and we want to come to a perception where everything on the outside is the Creator, and He is doing everything to me, and everything that I'm feeling is inside my vessel. That's me. Okay, so everything is inside this vessel here. And according to everything I feel here, I am responding back to the Creator, right? Until I really perceive the Creator, I can't say I'm doing it. I can't say I'm doing it. I can't say I'm living it. Until I get there, though, until I get there, what do I have to do? Let's do this black so we can separate it. Until I get to that sensation, I need to prepare myself. It's called the preparation period. The preparation period is easy. Just like you want to become an artist, but you're not an artist yet. But you're working to become an artist, right? That's your preparation period. So when we want to start becoming Kabbalists, we start working in the group together, just like I drew here. We start working together in the group. Even though we're not Kabbalists yet, we don't perceive the Creator, we only perceive ourselves and what's seemingly outside of us in the corporeal world. We start to take the recommendations, the advices of the Creator, of the Kabbalists, and start to implement it between us. Once we start to implement their recommendations, then what happens is we start to get sensations, and we begin to make inner discernments. We begin to discover things about ourselves that we didn't know before. And all those years we were living in the corporeal world, and we didn't know these things about ourselves. And all of a sudden, we started studying Kabbalah, and we started taking the advice of Kabbalists and started doing a few connection games or connection effort between us. All of a sudden you'll begin to feel things and see things about yourself that you never saw before. And then you begin to wonder, wow, was the corporeal me really me? And who's this new guy? Who's this new me? All right. So we'll be discovering many things at an individual level according to that effort we make in that connection between us. So the first thing we'll discover before the Creator, a person first discovers the real me. Who am I? The question is, who am I? And the answer to the real who I am lies in the discovery of a spiritual process. And this guy here, this me, well, you guys know how that works. This is not the real you. This is the animal you. Let's draw a few whiskers. Okay? And that's not the real you, though. At the moment, we feel like our body is the real us. However, the dot in the heart is the beginning of the sensation that, you know what, this body is not the real me. There's something else in me. And that me, the new me, we have to discover. All right. That's spirituality. And that is really done with the people in the group who have the same inclination.
You know, I found that when I started getting to that point, it was almost like I could look back and see the effect that society had, the environment that I previously had actually the effect that it had on me in all those past years. And it was really interesting to kind of look back sometimes.
You'll be able to really split yourselves in two. You'll be able to say, this is the animal me, and this is the real human me.
We have a question here from Enoch. Enoch says, if the universe was created by the Big Bang some 14 billion years ago, and Adam is the first man to discover the Creator, where did the story of creation in the Bible come from?
Well, that's a good question. So, okay, I would have explained this before, but let's explain it again. So in the Bible, it talks about man being created in the Garden of Eden, and then all of a sudden he gets expelled from the Garden of Eden, and he ends up in this world, right? And that's when people think that's how man started. That was the first man, and he was expelled. He was kicked out from heaven, and he ended up in corporeality here. And everyone, well, not everyone, but the religious sector has a tendency to believe that that's the first man. It is the first man, actually, but we have to understand what man is. Okay? Adam, let's call him, all right, let's Adam. Adam is the first man. It's true. He's the first man. But what is a man? Man, we just said a minute ago, is not some guy who looks like that. That's not called a man. In Kabbalah, that's called a wild ass. Okay? In David's writing, that's called a wild ass. A man is born as a wild mule from his mother's womb. And that's not man. So before Adam, there were many, many creatures. They looked just like us, humans, but they're not man. Because in spirituality, Adam, human, means one who can feel and sense the Creator because he is like the Creator. That's called man. Yeah, there we go. So the line, 14 billion years ago, 14 billion years, okay, let's make it easier for you all. Ooh, sorry. Let's do this. So 14 billion years ago. That's 14 billion years ago. Then we had all of the still level developments, still level. Then we had the vegetative level. Then we had the animate level. This is still animate. The human level inside us starts with Adam. And human is one who can feel the Creator. That's called Adam. Now, in religions, unfortunately, they think a man is one who walks on two legs in this shape. But in spirituality, that's not man at all. Because that kind of man is really no different from a chicken that walks on two legs either. Right? So chickens get eaten up, and life eats up man as well. Okay, it's a tough life out there. So the real human Adam comes from the word in Hebrew, domeh. It means similar. And la'adam is to be similar. So Adam means I will be similar. I will be like the Creator. And his state of being like the Creator is called man. So it's not like what the religious think, because the religious think, or some other people believe, that when we're born on two legs and two arms and we've got a head and we look like a human, we're not human. Okay, so these are animals. As King David said, these are wild mules who look like humans. But Adam is someone who can bestow to the Creator just like the Creator bestows. That's Adam. All right, so it's just a little misunderstanding about the text, actually, nothing more.
All right, now Michael, our friend Michael from South Africa is asking, do you have a group in Cape Town, South Africa?
We have a really amazing group in South Africa. I'm not sure if they're in Cape Town.
Most of them are kind of scattered out.
Yeah.
But there's some really, really strong and great friends there.
So South Africa, we've got a really good group in South Africa. So definitely stick around. You'll have an opportunity to connect with them. Who asked the question about Adam?
Who asked that question? Came from...
Was it Enoch?
We have a few about Adam. Another one here.
Okay.
Carmen is asking also.
So Adam...
Enoch asked that question.
Yeah. So Adam starts with the dot in the heart. All right? That's how you define Adam, one who feels the Creator.
Now, we have also coming from a Galaxy J7 phone.
Who has a Galaxy J7 phone? Does he have a name? Are we going to call you what, Galaxy?
I see Galaxy J7. How do I find my Kabbalistic teacher?
Well, we have the greatest Rav on the planet here at B'nai Baruch. You'll be happy to know. And once you get into the study group with us, you'll be able to study every day from the Rav, from Dr. Michael Lightman. We study with Dr. Michael Lightman. I've been studying with Dr. Michael Lightman for the past 16 years. We're a great group of students here. And hopefully, you guys all get on board. And once you get on board, we'll all be able to continue our learning and studying deeper and deeper into the wisdom of Kabbalah with Dr. Michael Lightman. So you'll be happy to know everything is ready for your spiritual attainment.
Now we have a great question here. This question came from an HTC Desire. It says...
That's a desire. There you go.
You mentioned that people first seek basic needs, then money, then power, knowledge, and etc. My question is, does one have to attain all of the above to seek Kabbalah?
No, because we've been through the loop already, okay? Because in spirituality, remember, we have all been reincarnating for thousands and thousands of years.
Oh, sorry. He just wrote in. His name is Muhammad. He's from Lebanon.
Okay, Muhammad from Lebanon. That's good. Because humanity has been evolving for thousands and thousands of years, and those desires inside of us have been there for thousands of years. In fact, these desires evolved and developed inside of us for thousands of years. We don't have to go back into them. In fact, you're probably inside sick and tired of them, and you want to get out of them, because if you didn't, the dot in the heart wouldn't wake up. Okay, that's the tricky thing with this dot in the heart. The dot in the heart really has had enough with the still vegetative, animate, and let's call it speaking. The speaking level of corporeality. Right? The dot in the heart is saying, please, can we just get out of this world and go home? Okay, the dot in the heart is like a bored, very, very much bored child who wants to just grow up. And all of these desires that we've been evolving with for thousands of years, they're still inside of us, and we all need them. Okay, we all need them, and we all need a bit of everything in life. And on top of that, we need to add spirituality, because if we don't have at least some of these basic desires, we can't really move forward as well. I mean, in life, what's the still level? Well, food. Okay, you're not going anywhere without food. Food, companionship. Okay, family or your partner, companionship. Food, family, and sex. These are still level desires. Okay, these are necessary, and they're also in plants as well. Plants also have these needs. Animals have these needs as well. They're basic desires for living, for existing, really. And then we have the vegetative level, which is what? Which is money. Okay, well, we're all going to need a little bit of that, because if we don't have a little bit of that, we don't have any food, no family, and nothing else. Okay, we're not getting anything. We need a bit of self-respect. Okay, so let's call that self-respect. Okay, in society, everybody needs to have some kind of a place in life. Okay, so we all need a little bit of that. It's called honor, self-decency, and respect. And also knowledge at the speaking level, right? We all need a bit of knowledge as well, because knowledge is not just necessary for our existence here, but knowledge is actually an additional factor that opens up new doors for us, and it also opens up, it brings us to also this dot in the heart, because we seek a lot of knowledge and we can't find answers, and the lack of answers also is a way of pressuring and giving birth to this dot in the heart inside of us. So we all need these things. We still have them inside of us. You don't have to throw them away. You don't have to cancel them. You don't have to disregard them. They need to be inside of us. But on top of those desires, what we need to do is we need to add our spirituality. And we need to, while we're living here, discover the Creator. All right? So that's what we need to do.
Now, there is another question here that is from Enoch, and he says, what qualifies a person to be a Kabbalist?
Only a desire. Okay, a desire to study Kabbalah qualifies you. Not a desire, not an HTC desire, but a desire inside, okay, to find out the meaning of life.
Now, Steve says, I feel on a knife edge between corporeality and spirituality.
Yeah.
A physical Kabbalah group would make all the difference in moving in the direction I have to go.
Yes, it does.
He says, can BB grow quickly, please?
We certainly can. We're all ready. Okay, we are ready to have anyone on board who wants to join the studying the wisdom of Kabbalah. So anyone can study. We have friends from all over the world. This weekend, in fact, starting Thursday, we're about to have a congress in the desert for a few days, and we're all going there. And there are a lot of friends flying from all over. We've got friends from Japan came in. We've got friends from the US. We've got friends from Turkey. They're going to fly in tomorrow night. We've got friends coming in from Europe, Russia, Romania. So we have a lot of friends from all over Europe and Asia and Americas and coming in. And there's room for everyone to study. And because actually we're so lucky, we've got the virtual environment. So if you're in the UK, if you're in South Africa, or wherever, there's always somebody to connect with. And because we're so lucky, we've got these gadgets, okay? You can connect with anyone, anywhere. So on top of that, we also get together in congresses, and we're going to have a big congress in Israel in February. So if you guys want to carry on studying, you're more than welcome to pop over and come by. We have local congresses as well every now and then. And you can just come and join in. There's always room for people who want to study, so don't be shy. Just tag along.
Now, our friend Enoch has another question. He says, on lesson 2, perception of reality.
Who's Enoch? Can you raise your hand so we know who you are? Oh, there we go.
Corner, yeah.
Okay, around the corner. Gotcha. Nice.
So Enoch says, on lesson 2, perception of reality, is that polished mirror in our brains that is is that polished mirror in our brains that enables us to see and perceive everything outside of us a physical organ?
It's called the brain.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. Look, inside of our, that polished mirror is our brain. Okay, so in the side of us we have a brain, a functional one, and what it does is, because all our sensory organs are working to absorb. Okay, it's like a sponge. So we're just absorbing actually all kinds of waves, sound waves, electromagnetic waves. In fact, our body is just like, it's like electricity. Okay, so everything is basically just these contacts of nerves that create these impulses in our brains that make us see the world as it is. But like I said before, in order for us to have a concrete approach, even though everything is perceived inside of us, we need to be, down to earth. And if I'm feeling Anthony on the outside of me, he's on the outside of me. But what I'm feeling from Anthony as a friend, like he's a good friend, he's a considerate friend, all those feelings that I have about his qualities are sensed inside of me. And if we think about that a little bit, if you just meditate on that a little bit tonight, you'll see that you actually perceive all your friends, you perceive the whole of life actually through that feedback you get from your sensory organs, which give you a sensation on the inside. All right, so it's a nice question, and if you start, thinking about that a little bit, you'll be able to understand that. Oh my God, I am feeling everything on the inside, and there's really nothing on the outside. But just don't get too carried away, okay?
Now, another great question. This is from Louise. She says, "What are your thoughts on ayahuasca or DMT to attain other realms or worlds?"
I have no idea, Louise, because I haven't studied them. To be honest with you, I've studied many things. I've read a lot of stuff. Before I came to Kabbalah, I even spoke with Dalai Lama. I was in Australia seeking, okay, but I have not done that. DMT or
ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca.
Yeah, that's like a South American
there you go.
thing.
So I don't know, but I did. Went through a lot of stuff. Went through a lot of philosophies, Buddhism, and everything. And when I discovered Kabbalah, I said, "Oh my God, this must be it. This is it. It's not must be it. This is it." So ever since then, I haven't really studied anything else. So if I knew, I would let you know, but haven't done it. Don't know. Sorry.
Now we have a question from Tish. It says, "I have a question on reincarnation.
Yeah.
Does it happen at an individual level, as in a version of me coming back, or is it on a collective soul basis?"
That's a very nice question, because we all like to think that it's me who'd like to come back to being me. However, unfortunately, it's not unfortunate actually, it is fortunately that we are a collective soul. Okay? Because the Creator actually created just one soul, and that soul is Adam. And only this one soul, this one creature is evolving with all its parts together as part of one creation. Now think about it. It's actually very good that you are not coming back as Tish or Trish?
It's T-I-C-H.
T-I-C, okay, Tish.
I'm horrible with names, so please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, okay?
So it's actually good that you're not coming back as Tish all the time, simply because, imagine this. Today we have 8 billion, right? And let's say tomorrow we have 9 billion. So how's that Trish going to come back? Okay, we kind of have 3 other Trishes. Okay, let's do that. Or we can't divide you up into 3. Okay, so Trish is here. So this part of Adam is called Tish. I hope I'm spelling your name right and pronouncing it right, okay? But with Adam, you're evolving all the time. All of us are. So imagine if all of a sudden the population went down to 6 billion. Hope it doesn't, but let's say it did, okay? Then somebody's going to decide and say, oh, maybe Tish shouldn't come back. All right, so you don't want to have that thought on your mind. All right, so what happens is just one creation. All right, so one creation is evolving, and we're all parts of that. And think about it also in our bodies as well, right? We lose cells, okay? We lose cells and we have new cells. I'm losing my hair, as you can see, and they're not coming back. So, but it's not a big deal. Why? Because the body is overall existing. It lives. Why? Because it's one creature, one creation, one creature. And the important thing we need to understand here is that the reason we're actually all doing this effort to connect as well, okay, this is a really good question because it leads to this. The reason we all now want to connect between ourselves, amongst each other, all right, is so that we can replicate and make a mini model of this Adam with the dots in the heart that are awakened. Kind of like a simulation. Because if we all start to do that, this part of Adam, okay, this part of Adam, starts to have parts like Tish. Who else is with us today? Louise is here.
It's pronounced teach.
Teach, okay, cool. So,
right?
Louise, Enoch is with us. Who else is with us? Who hasn't asked a question today? Go on, raise your hands. Do let me see the lazy ones. All right, there you go.
Come on, Carmen, what you got for us?
All right, do me a favor, shoot something. We only got 2 minutes. So all of us, right, are here. All right? So what happens is, though, when we're trying to simulate, okay, this connectedness, even though we are part of creation, we become an active part in the creation. So think about it. Although we're losing body cells, they're dying off, okay, like the hair example I gave you, but the organs, but the body remains alive. So people who begin to attain spirituality start to become the vital organs that actually sense the whole of the body. Just like in our body, we have important organs, don't we? Like the heart, the brain, the lungs, the kidneys, and the liver, and everything. So we have internal organs, internality. Get it? Internality are internal organs which actually make the body live. Right? That causes life. That's life. And then we have parts of us that fall off, but they don't cause us any pain. It's like cutting our nails, right? Because it's like the vegetative level. They belong to the vegetative level. Our hair, we can cut it off and we don't feel any pain. Why? Because we live in the animate level and the vegetative level is below us, so we don't feel any pain. So we only feel pain on our flesh because that's like, the animal level. So if we attain spirituality also, here's also another nice tip for you. If we attain spirituality and we live in that zone, we live in the level of Adam, then you free yourself from the sufferings of this animal. Sufferings of the animate level. Does that make sense? Yes? It makes sense, yes? Okay. This is why the whole of creation, and it's not just us as well, because we're part of creation. Okay, because we think we're smart, we're like outside of nature. But no, all of us in nature are is one creation. So all of us are parts here. But this whole of creation, this Adam, is evolving as one creature. And inside that, we need to build consciousness. And as all the parts become conscious, then this one creature starts to become a conscious organism, a conscious creature with all its parts together. Isn't that great? Yes, you guys agree, right? Come on. Otherwise, it'd be imagine always coming back as Tish. How boring would that be? It's like, I'm back again. Oh, God. Right.
I was thinking maybe I'd be Prince Harry or something like that.
Oh, you'd love that,
Yeah,
wouldn't you? I don't think you're going to get that lucky.
Yeah, no.
Not with that shirt. Oh, there you go. Anything else? Or are we done for the day?
We've got a lot of questions that came in. We're going to, as you see, Judith wrote in everyone who asked the questions. All the questions that wasn't answered will be answered in the beginning of the next lesson. But there was one more that kind of fit. Steve asked, what happens to individuality when we are all one in Adam?
Individuality will remain. Individuality has to remain, because imagine all of our organs acting like the same organ, right? So the body wouldn't be able to complete itself. Individuality is very, very important. Everybody's individuality actually is what makes the whole of creation very rich. So if we were all very similar, okay, it'd just be a boring planet. I mean, imagine if you all looked like me. That'd be awful. Okay, it would be awful. Okay, imagine everybody being like yourself. So that'd be crazy. So what we need to do is, everybody's individuality is very important, and we never delete our individuality. We discover ourselves in spirituality, and we discover, in fact, our individuality. The beautiful thing about spirituality is you can actually discover where you fit in life. That's really one of the amazing things in the wisdom of Kabbalah. You can actually finally find out where you fit in the whole of creation, and according to that specific location that you're in, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle, and like where you fit in, and then you can just complete the picture. You know exactly what to do, how to do. You become this harmonious part in nature, and you have this harmonious existence. So all of our individuality is very important to complete the overall picture of creation. All right, now today we had a light lesson because I did promise you it was a tea party, right? But next week we will be a bit more serious, okay? All right, maybe you wear a black shirt or something, be more serious.
I was thinking so, like some suspenders and my little glasses.
All righty, okay. So next week we'll have a bit of a serious lesson. So hopefully today we cleared out a lot of the stuff. Next week we will get into actively discovering how to work together, okay? And we'll be using a book, and as usual we'll be using a book, and it's called Rabash Social Writings. Now if you do not have that book, it's recommended to have it. It's called Social Writings, and it's a book by Rabash. Okay, it's on our website, and if you don't have the book, the articles are on the website as well. But I really do recommend you get a book. It's a really nice. There you go, Rabash Social Writings. Okay, there we go. It's really recommended to get. This book is the only Kabbalistic book that really describes how people should be working together in a group. No other Kabbalist in the history of Kabbalists, all the way down to Adam, thought about writing such a book, unfortunately. I don't know how it didn't occur to them at all. But Rabash, I'm glad he thought about it and he wrote, because it describes how we need to act in order to connect with each other, so we can actually start connecting together. All right? Practically, spirituality is not somewhere up there in fairyland or la la land or whatever. It's very practical. We need to be like Action Jackson. You know, we need to do things here in order to attain spirituality. This is why our world is called the world of action. We need to do things, and practically we'll be learning how to do all that. Right here then. All right, we will love you and leave you as usual. Next Tuesday, same old. We're going to carry on second semester first lesson with a bit more serious tone, and if you get bored, I'll add in a few jokes just to lighten things up a little bit. Anything else you'd like to add there?
So far, so good. I'm just looking forward to seeing you all next week. I think Zoom was a big success here.
Great.
And,
It's really nice to see you guys because finally I am not getting bored when I'm teaching. Okay? So it's really good to see you guys all
all
on.
those beautiful smiling faces.
Exactly. So see you guys all next Tuesday. All the best.
Bye.
Bye now.